Hi, folks. How's it going? Y'all rested or not rested? No? Anybody who like partied last night and didn't sleep at all? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't believe it. Christian, you did? You hellraiser. What were you up to? What games did you play? Okay. What's the horse game? You showed me that in your phone. How do you say it? So you just bet on anime horse girls?
It's horse trainer simulator.
Okay. But can you make money off of it?
What kind of parent question is that? Like, yeah, but can you make money off of this?
This is
this
a YouTube.
Pong?
This is a YouTube panel. It's all about making money. So
That's the first step. So, yeah, for those of you looking to make money, you
Duh.
came to the right place.
Yes.
Buy into our timeshare.
what's the price of your soul, Christian? 17 V-Bucks.
We're going to be presenting you a pyramid. I mean, not a pyramid.
It's a triangle.
Yes.
It's different.
It's a triangle scheme.
Triangle, not scheme.
But not scheme.
No. 6-week course?
How much you got?
Yeah. My lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? This is How to YouTube. I'm Saberspark. This is ACRacebest. And this panel is mostly a Q&A panel where, we'll take questions from the audience. It's funny, with every passing year that we've done this panel, it started off more like talking about hobbies and whatnot. But now with every time we have this, people are a lot more like serious, a lot more like, yeah, I want to make it. I want this to be a livelihood. Like the legitimacy of the internet becoming a place where you can make a career is like no secret anymore. What is it now? Like 1 out of 2 kids in high school are like, I want to be a Twitch streamer, Not a lawyer, ew. Not a cop, not a surgeon, but a Twitch streamer.
So you're telling me there's a lot of hope for the future.
There is, yep.
We have a shortage of everything except Twitch streamers.
And Twitch emotes, we got
Great.
that, right. But yeah, this is basically a Q&A. Anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, I mean,
introductions, I guess, as well.
Yeah, like you said. In large part, it's over the years we've seen YouTube become a very legitimate source of income.
Dual income.
But there still are different subsets of the way people approach YouTube. In some cases, there is the full-blown career.
Yep.
In other cases, there are still people that might just be looking, out there to just be getting started. Maybe it's like, you know what, I want to take an approach where I just want to do this for fun. I just want to maybe do it for a hobby. I kind of fall into that realm a little bit more. The beautiful part about YouTube is that you can always start there, and one day you might be like, oh, it's suddenly a career. Like, this is doing successful numbers, and I am making money off of this.
And there are people who can even turn it into like just another source of income.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a full-blown career, but it's like, yeah, I get like $2,000 a month from doing this. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, to give an idea, because I'm willing to throw out some numbers, I make $3 a month, and
You doubled it.
I was expecting everyone. I'm glad you clapped, because I was actually expecting everyone to go. Goodbye. But yeah, like you said, and thank you for reminding me, I'm ACRacebest. I've been doing the YouTube thing, technically, I guess, since 2007. And those videos from 2007 do not look the way I remember them.
8 pixels.
Yeah, I'm like, are they knocking the quality? There's a few like mysteries of YouTube that exist. Yeah, started out with a racing channel called Low Budget TV, and got my ACRacebest channel going around 2011. And then Sarah, we started Ready Player Dumb in 2020, and that's my wife Sarah and I. We have our gaming channel that we do. So been having fun with that, and yeah. So those are my 3 that I help manage.
And for me, I do YouTube full-time. I've been doing that since 2016. I have a channel called Saberspark where I do animation reviews. I've been lucky enough to actually find some pretty strong success doing it. I have about 2 million subscribers at the moment, but I'm sure it will go down in the future.
We can
More
only
people leave.
hope.
$3. But yeah, I've been able to actually do the YouTube career path. It is very interesting. It was hobby turned career, and I can't express how lucky I was with the timing, because I've been on YouTube since 2007 as well. But it was around 2011 where I started making more videos for a hobby. But around 2016, just something changed. I think across the board, this is me saying this not in like a political way, but like the elections of 2016 changed everything, where so many people went to the internet to like get their information, like not just, nerdy millennials, but like everybody was on the internet. And I feel like that was like the turnkey moment for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But YouTube got very serious from that point on. And a lot of folks were like, oh, I want a piece of that action.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching, because there's literally been a cultural shift around YouTube. There again, when we got started with it, it was like, oh,
It was
fun.
nerdy. Oh my God, Rage Comics.
We can post videos online.
That blew my. I'm like 15 minutes long. Whoa.
Yeah, that's another thing that's changed with YouTube over the years. Recently, but like a couple years ago, I was just upset that I couldn't upload a video that was 24 hours long. I'm like, why? The limitations
Bunch
of the
of
internet.
prudes at google.gov.
But yeah, it had all sorts of limitations back in the day.
Back then, you couldn't even pick your own thumbnail. You had to hope that you had a good thumbnail. You could not pick it.
It's funny you mentioned that. I have people that have mentioned, they're like, hey, why don't you ever change the thumbnails for the Bronies Reacts, like the old ones? And I'm like, because they're
Classic.
I'm like,
Yeah.
because YouTube chose that as the thumbnail.
Yeah. It was picked.
Tomb just sitting with the side.
Well, back in the day, you had folks make videos, and they'd try to put images in the video that make no sense editing-wise, with the hopes that it might auto-populate and pick that image. And that could make or break your video. Like my cousin Kevin and I, we'd make videos that were complete just like lies of like, it's a alternate ending for Halo 3, and it wasn't. And we'd pick images to put in there just to troll viewers and like clickbait them essentially.
Yeah, you could manipulate it.
Oh, yeah.
Because at one point YouTube's like, we're gonna take the clip that's right in the middle of the video, so people
Usually.
would flash an image.
Yeah, just hold there for like 20 seconds of just an image. You're like, oh, I hope that's the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Should we start taking some questions?
yeah, we can. I think we saw a hand over
Yes.
here.
I was going to comment, like, I thought it was really funny, really old videos, did one frame of the thumbnail and it would go.
Yep, just flash for a second. Yep.
I like, because now I know why your hand went down just as soon as I said that. Like, well,
No,
all
that
right.
was such a thing back then.
Yeah.
And it seems so crazy nowadays because picking your own thumbnail makes so much sense. But back then, YouTube was very selective, where they're like, we'll allow some of our partners to do it, like, Fred or Boogie or whatever. But now it's like it's insane how many, like, I guess abilities or whatever, or things you can do on YouTube nowadays for everybody was like super exclusive back in the day. Very exclusive. Even monetization.
To be able to, like, only the big creators used to put, like, banners on their YouTube.
Yep. It's a throwback. All right, questions. Let's start with you.
How do you know if it's better to be a multifaceted channel or if it's better to stick with a single focus?
I believe that sticking with a vertical, a single focus, is the way to go. It's, okay, I guess for me, there isn't like a single path to becoming a successful YouTuber. And it takes many shapes and forms. Depends on your audience, your content, you. But when it comes to the algorithm, I think this is the double-edged sword of it, the more you focus on something, the better chance you have at succeeding at it. But also, once it catches fire, when your audience starts showing up saying, hey, I like your videos about this. Okay, now you want to keep making more videos about that, and more videos about that. And then you get to the point where you're like, well, shoot, how can I diversify? How can I break away from what established this channel? Shoot. So it's almost like you need to have a plan B already built in, where it's like, okay, that was it for me. I started with My Little Pony. Who would have guessed? And then I was like, well, okay, I don't know where to go from here. Well, My Little Pony is a cartoon. So I, an animation fan, hope that my viewers, because I think I had like 55,000 at the time when I made the change, in 2015 from just doing ponies to doing just cartoons in general. I'm like, I'm willing to bet that these people like cartoons in general, so we'll give that a shot. And it worked really well. So that's my advice. You know, because the thing is, if you're too diversified initially, the algorithm's like, what the hell is this channel about? What are they trying to do? You know, what's this channel's identity? It wants it to, like, you know, make it simple so you can just focus fire on that. And it just helps you out, I guess, initially in the springboard. That's why when it comes to people who are like, how do I launch a channel? It depends, as a creator, what you want. Because if you don't want to, how do I put this? I don't want to compromise your artistic integrity, you know? But at the same time, YouTube absolutely will. And that's why I say focus on one thing, and also don't be ashamed if it's a trend. Because trends are like built-in algorithmic springboards, so it's okay to use those. Does that answer your question? The answer for all questions will be don't do YouTube. Go to trade school.
It's interesting just thinking back, because I guess another thing to always consider is that you don't, a lot of times you'll hear when it comes to YouTube and its success is like, oh, you know, you want to have like, you know, a regular schedule of some sort, you know, constant uploads, the algorithm likes that. But I feel like there's almost no such thing as like I don't want to call it a dead channel, but one that like can slow down, you can always pick it back up. And the reason I say this is actually using you as an example, because there was a time where when we were making videos that we were joking about how little you were uploading. It was like, oh, when's the last time you uploaded? And that same channel is now the one that you're sitting on here with millions of subscribers. So
I would say, yes, it's true. But also, if you do find success, YouTube,
you have to
keep it going. Yeah. Like YouTube, you're means to an end to them. I mean that. Like they don't care about you. These guys are so two-faced. By the way, I've noticed throughout the years, like when we do these panels, I sound a lot more like, you know, doom and gloom, where I'm like, those bastards at YouTube. No, but
it all started when they did the copyright.
Exactly.
How dare they?
And then the fine bros came for us. If you find success, you have to drill into it. You have to be super persistent and consistent as well, because, you know, so much of it is just timing and luck. And if you find it, you have to hold on to it, because as soon as you stop, YouTube will go, okay, we're done here, moving on to the next person. Because there's miles and miles of people who are begging for an opportunity, and as soon as you step aside, they'll put the next person in front of the line. You have to find a balance. You know, that's why it does depend on the type of content you make. Its caliber, you know, how much goes into it. Is it short form, long form, hybrid? But I would say, like, people who are creators who are like, I'm gonna take a month or two off. I'm like, ooh, you know, that's pushing it. Like, it happens sometimes. You should be able to take some time off. YouTube lies about that. They're like, take care of yourself, all right? Treat yourself. Fire him. But yeah, find a schedule that makes the most sense for you and your life and your content. But I am, it's kind of pessimistic, but if you don't keep up, they will kick you out.
And then I just saw we had a hand in the back. Yeah.
I guess mine was just kind of tangentially related. I was just asking how hard it must have been to kind of carve out a niche. That was most of my question, is how hard it was.
Oh, how hard was it? I mean, I just kind of nerded out on things I already loved. So I guess it kind of came naturally. But it was okay. You know, I can't stress enough how lucky I was, both with the pony stuff and then with the cartoon stuff. Yeah, just kind of came natural. Yeah, but again, very lucky. I can't overstate how lucky I got, because so much of it is timing. Like, I literally showed up with my channel right when YouTube was finally like cracking its knuckles, saying, let's make some money. And they started to change the algorithm to really push people ahead. And also culturally, I think a lot of folks at that point were like, I'm kind of done watching TV. Who owns cable? I'm going to watch YouTube instead. So yeah, I think the timing was really good.
Yeah. Yes?
I was going to ask, since would you want to speak to some of the other stuff behind the scenes, in the sense that since you do this full time, things like, where do you get health insurance from?
Health insurance? You mean the first aid kit in my closet? Yeah. Yeah, that's a very like, unsexy question, but it's necessary. I pay for my own insurance. It's basically its own business where you have to, by the way, if you get lucky with YouTube, make a S corporation. Like, don't file your income personally. Like, make a company so you can get some tax benefits. I remember when I started doing the YouTube stuff for about 2 years, my dad finally started. My dad's old school businessman. At first, he was like, "That's cool with the YouTube stuff. All right, Steve, that's fine." And then I remember asking him about like taxes one year, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, how much do I owe?" And he's like, "How much did you make?" "What?" "That's from YouTube?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have a business?" "No." "Let's make a business." But yeah, CPA. I go to a CPA. I hate filing my own taxes. I hate it. But you want to stay on top of it because the IRS will most certainly catch up with you and be like, "How much do we make this quarter? How much do you owe this quarter?" But yeah, you can also attest to this because you run, your own businesses.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very much one and the same. And actually a very similar story. Although it was my mother who was like, "Hey, oh, you're making that much. This is what we got to do. This is what you've got to do."
Isn't it funny how the parents kind of flip a switch where they're like, "That's a cute hobby. All right, we have to incorporate."
Yeah. Or even as much as, "Why are you wasting your time with this? Hello."
You're going to need a beneficiary.
Hey, it's fine. I'm only going to take 30%.
That's it?
Yeah. No, as far as like the business stuff goes, that's one of the things that, whether it's going into your own business or, relying on something like YouTube as your income, that versus working with like a company that does offer benefits, is that you do have to take care of that stuff, and you almost have to factor that in as well.
Yeah, it becomes another job. Like, you're wearing another hat. That's the entire thing where when I went to school, I'm like, I have no idea what taxes are. I have no idea what financial literacy, what is that? And I've been told before that it comes down to once you make that money, if you're fortunate to find it, that's when you start to learn. Mm-hmm. Or you will learn the hard way when the IRS knocks on your door. Because I had a CPA for a few years who completely screwed up my taxes. And I got a better CPA who looked at it, and she was like, ooh, you owe some back taxes. And I'm like, is the vacation fund going away? But yeah, it's a business. It is a business. YouTube, you are freelance. You are doing it on your own. They don't care about you. They don't care how you make your money as long as they get half of it. But then as far as you and your finances, you've got to keep your house in order. Do your taxes, stay on top of it, keep your receipts, have those monthly bank statements. You guys are like so bored. Like, talk about the memes. No, we're talking about taxes.
When are you going to make a taxes channel?
Let me speak to my lawyer. We'll figure it out. I saw your hand. Yes.
How do you know when is a good time to respond to like hate or very negative criticism?
We've never experienced
Never.
any hate.
Never. I am.
Have you
perfect.
experienced any? I don't think we've experienced anything.
People on
like
the
that.
internet are very nice usually. No, I would say that it's a guarantee. There's something culturally about the internet where it can bring out like the nastiest sides of people, and a lot of it is because they're behind a keyboard. It's amazing how often, if you're talking to them one-on-one, face-to-face, they are not the same person. They're different. It's almost like there's human empathy there now. And if not, then it's a bar fight. And that's why I'm always packing. Mints. No. Marshmallow. No, I'd say, because there's a fine balance between, like, God, I hate the entire phrase of, ignore the haters. But there's some kind of validity to it, where there'll be people who just want to just dump on you and scream and shout and tear you down. And I feel like you'll build a filter eventually where you're like, okay, this is just noise. Let me find the actual constructive criticism, because usually their tone is not nearly as antagonizing. They'll be like, I've had that before. Folks are like, yo, Saber, I think you can improve by doing, your reviews are just too much of you saying what happened and not talking about your thoughts about it. Why is it a bad story? Why are they bad characters? Why is this, not good, and how could it be better? That's good criticism. I'll take it. Versus someone saying, look, this stupid ass furry, I hate this guy, I'm like, I'm not stupid. No,
I meant every word.
but you learn to grow a thicker skin as well. That's just something, like, I'm so super sensitive. Like, I was raised by a bunch of women, so I'm like, Mom, is everything okay? I'm just super, empathetic that way. So when it came to the internet stuff, and even to this day, I still get moments where I'm like, this sucks. But you eventually learn to just kind of put it aside and say, I got to focus on the good things, your family, your friends, things that make you happy, and then learn to just push the noise out. And that's not ignorance, that's self-preservation.
Yeah. No, and kind of along your line of things, a lot of times it comes to, the levels. There's always, I feel like, especially with, when we released, this is the example that I look back at, when we released our first ever Bronies React, that was at a time where, and we don't experience as much of this anymore, but when the Brony fandom initially kicked off back in like 2011, 2012, there were a lot of people online that were like, no, we must stop it.
There was something called anti-bronies.
Yeah.
Which was really weird. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
They were there. And when I released that first Bronies React, it was a reaction to the Fine Brothers, speaking of them. Their teens react to My Little Pony. And it was less than flattering. And we thought it'd be funny to basically, react to it, but laugh at ourselves. And I told everybody, I went into this knowing that thumbs up to thumbs down ratio, back when that used to just be a regular public thing on YouTube.
Now they hide it.
I was like, this is going to be at like 50% at best. Like, I knew going into it. I'm like, oh, there's going to be people coming after this. But I'm like, this is going to be fun. I don't care. Let's do it. It ended up having a much more positive, response. And I even remember, I was getting responses from, teachers that were like, wow, thank you so much for opening my eyes to this. I'd like to present this to my class. And I'm like, what?
People were nicer in the early 2010s, though.
Yeah, teachers especially. But no, I mean, yeah, it's tough. I feel like the best thing you can do is honestly have a support system that you can lean on. Those people that will constantly help remind you, but also hold you accountable.
If I may add to that too, this is just my opinion. To add to what you said about having a support network, go vent to your friends. Go vent to your family. Write in a journal. Yep. Go for a walk. There's a certain point where the higher you fly with your success, the more of a liability it becomes if you're just kind of posting your, frustrations on the internet. Because people will start looking at that saying, oh, how dare you? Even if it's a completely valid emotion, they'll find a way to twist it and use it against you. So it's best just to sidestep it completely. And also, because I know that emotion's more of I want to just get it off my chest. I just want to put it out there. But there's a certain point where it's it's better just to talk to a therapist, talk to a family member, do not on the internet though, because they'll look for every chance to rip you down.
The internet is not going to help you.
No.
Don't use it as a therapist. People do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Especially ChatGPT. Don't talk to that.
It's not ready yet.
Yeah. It's Ready Player Dumb. Next, was that a good answer? All right, cool. That's a good question. Thank you. Yeah. Well, actually, let's go to you. Yes.
As a hobbyist kind of perspective, what is your mindset with writing scripts, and how have you seen your development of scripts? Because that's a lot of what YouTube has become, is more edited videos.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think back in the day where I'm in high school or college, I'm like, a 3-page paper. Oh, I'm gonna die. I just finished a script for a King of the Hill video that's nearly 200 pages long. And I'm like, I forgot how much fun writing can be when you give a damn about the topic, Take that, social studies. But, it's so funny. The most important class I've taken in my life was back in high school with an English teacher who really, cared about the class. And she taught me how to write papers, you know, how to start off with brainstorming and then rough outline, then the outline, then the rough script, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually using something from high school to help my career. That's incredible. But so what the question was how to write?
Like, how have you seen your development of script writing improve?
Oh, yeah. I hired a writer.
Amazing what that'll do for you.
It's incredible.
You know, on the other side of things, like I feel like, and I'm curious what you think about this, because I know that you have longer form content than I typically do. But for me, I don't know why. I feel like I do a lot worse with a script versus like bullet points.
You are bullet point, extrovert, improv, like incarnate.
Blah, 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 blah.
You're good at going off the cuff, though.
Yeah, like
and that's a superpower. That's, by the way, I mean, I feel like you are the kind of person where I feel like you're an excellent streamer. You make great videos, but you got a streamer personality, which is a skill.
Thank you. I'm gonna
stream with Ready Player Dumb.
Yeah, when I get out of high school, I'm gonna be a Twitch streamer.
You'll do it right.
They said it should only take 5 more years. So,
more
but yeah, so there's different sides of it though. Like, what works more for you? Because I feel like you do a really good job presenting like a script. You know, where I feel like when I'm reading a script, whether it's, and this is another thing that people always talk about, is going back and listening to your voice or listening to your presentation. Whenever I'm reading a script, I'm sitting there going, I can tell. I'm
reading a script.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing is, I've had people tell me, like, you don't sound like your videos. I'm like, yes, because I'm talking to you without reading a script, you know? In this video, we will talk about Cartoon Network and its downfall. What happened, you know? But as far as improving scripts, I will say this, though. Don't look at YouTube writing as like, I have a master's in English. I know how to write a paper. It's like writing a paper is different from writing a script for YouTube. Like those first 10 seconds of your video are the most important. That's your chance to hook people in. And I learned about that. I'm like, okay, so you have to show a little, ankle. You have to really, hook them in. So why should they care? How can you sauce it up to make them go, I want to know more? Hit them with a question. Hit them with something that will make them want to sit down and watch the video. Because initially when I did the YouTube stuff, I would spend like the first minute kind of just treading water, doing a joke or two, whatever. Now I'm like, no, those first 10 seconds are precious. You've got to make them count. Which kind of, conflicts with the proper, I guess, format for a paper or whatever, a script. YouTube demands different priorities, I'd say. That's what I would say, because I used to have a little like intro visual, and I learned that these other YouTubers are like, don't waste your time on that. Just get to the point, because people click off in like the first 15 seconds.
A perfect example of that, by the way. I don't know if people have noticed, but movie trailers these days,
they do a little short,
they show you a clip like in the middle of the trailer, and then it goes, coming in January.
They do that for TikTok too.
Yeah.
Where there'll be like a police video, and it's like, here's the arrest. Now give it about 4 minutes, and we'll get to the actual arrest.
But that's a perfect example of like that hook at the very beginning, where it's like,
I put Family Guy moments, in the top left-hand corner to hold their attention.
And it
Dude,
works.
Gen Alpha's cooked. I'm just saying. I was like with my nephew. He's like 10, and he was watching YouTube Shorts. And we were getting some ice cream, and I was, we're at a red light. I was looking over at his phone, and he had 3 different screens on his phone, where it was a Family Guy clip, some guy playing with Play-Doh, and the stupidest lame like improv show ever, or sketch comedy from some guy about getting money from his grandma. And I'm like, August, this is good? He's like, yeah, it's a video. I'm like, but he's just kind of in a trance, just kind of. I'm like, August.
You know he was watching the Play-Doh video though.
Right.
Like that was that's the good stuff.
It's dopamine. It's a dopamine overload, right? I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Where people want that hit initially, or right off the bat, and they'll put all kinds of videos to get their attention. Here's Subway Surfers, or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to the next
being an electrician again. All right, let's do yes.
I want to ask, so you guys have been around for a long time, and I'm wondering if seeing those big numbers grow over time, does that ever kind of worry you, or does it feel like you're kind of staring at
I mean, yeah, I think there's different ways of seeing it where it's like, cool numbers, algorithm, error goes up, whatever. But then coming to conventions, this is the best. We love talking to people. We love getting to hear people's stories because, everyone's an experience. Everyone's a soul. And, yeah, we try to keep ourselves grounded in reality that way. We're not hot shots. We're just, we put on our girdles one at a time, But we didn't put yours on today. Yours just fell off.
I'll leave mine off for Hooves Line.
But I would say, it just comes down to, those big numbers. It's cool. It's like, wow, that's a lot of people. I think I recently hit like 500 million in total channel views. My mom watches my videos a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think it comes down to perspective and the lens in which you want to view life and experience it. Because there are people who, I've seen YouTubers with 5,000 subscribers who act like they're God. And I'm like, it's not that big of a because there are YouTubers I haven't even heard of. Like this past week, there's about a bunch of Roblox drama, and it's like Twiggly D spoke to Schlepp, and they are gonna press some charges. And I'm like, who's Schlepp? 14 million subscribers. I'm like, who are these people? It's like Patrick, No, but that kind of gives me some, I guess comfort to be like, see, there are people who are like, I have 2 million subscribers. Who cares? You be proud of it, but don't let it become arrogance. That's what I would say.
Yeah, YouTube's interesting too, because like when you're getting started, I feel like it's what tends to happen is that you're making content, and if you're like, I really wanna see those subscriber numbers grow, right? And you start with 1, and you're like, yes. This is where it starts, baby. And then you're like, I want 10. And you get 10. And you're like, now I want 100. More. Now I want 1,000. Now I want 10,000. And you think like, sweet, I hit 10,000. I'm happy. Then you go, okay, can I hit 100? And you get to 100, and you're like, man, the sky's the limit. The reality is that, especially like if you find that success, and a lot of times it can be a video that catches online, and sometimes, because I've said this before, with content, especially with starting a channel, because people ask us a lot at these, how do I start a YouTube channel? I'm like, well, uploading a video is a very good way, but you don't, you can't rely on that's going to be the video that's also going to be the thing that explodes the channel. It might not be. It might take a little bit of time, but I do feel like it does help to have content on the channel that if you have a video that catches, and then people look back at the channel and go, oh, they do upload regularly, or this is content that they make. That's where I think you actually catch a subscriber versus a view or someone liking the video.
Well, subscribers don't even matter as much as they used to.
I know, no. And I was actually going to ask you that. I'm going to shift it a little bit there. But yeah, as far as like the growing numbers go, I feel like it's cool, of course. It's like, and it's certainly an accomplishment to be able to grow that subscriber base. And it does, it feels good to be like, yes, broke that next mark. But I think for us, the most rewarding thing isn't so much the numbers.
It's the money.
It's the money. No, it's when we're here or at conventions or out there somewhere and somebody comes up and they talk to you about what your content means to them, because we're just on our computer sitting in our dark rooms crying when we're making our content, but you don't really know the impact that it can have on somebody.
Well, there are people who, because we've been there ourselves, where sometimes you're having a bad day and you just put on a video and it's like, okay, I can decompress. This is comforting, and that's a good feeling. That's it's a mark of honor to be approached by folks who are like, hey, I watch your videos when I do my art or when I do homework or whatever.
Or someone saying, you made me laugh when I needed it most.
Yep.
There were people that were telling me that they would pull up the Bronies Reacts when they were in the middle of warfare. And I'm just like, excuse me? I don't mean like as they're actively like, all right,
say, pause.
That'll be the next generation. But no, like they were, I've been told about a story.
Family Guy moment.
BronyCon, we were told about some guys that they told us, they were like, we were in a bunker. We were basically being shot at every angle. We had to, lay down for the night. And that was their way of letting off steam, was they pulled up a Bronies React. And I'm like, what?
Needless to say,
Seriously.
we lost the war.
But it, you know, it's stuff like that where it's like, I didn't make it thinking this is going to be the thing that, you know, will carry someone through the night type of thing. But and again, we've had very deep stories, very, very personal stories that people have shared with us that you, again, it's like when somebody comes up to you and says, thank you for saving my life, that's like, I feel like there's no greater compliment in the world. Yeah. You feel bad, you know, you're in the regard of like, I'm sorry that you had to be in that spot in your life. But when somebody tells you that, you realize, you know what we're doing can be important. So, as I mentioned, I was going to ask about the numbers, like the focus now, subscriber numbers versus views. Is it now more about like
viewership is, you know, what matters. Watch time is really important. Subscribers don't really matter as much anymore. Like there are channels I watch who have maybe like 8,000 subscribers, get 100,000 views consistently. And it's like, okay, you know, that's what matters most is viewership.
Now, did YouTube kill the subscriber model?
Well, they didn't help with the YouTube Shorts feature.
Because I feel like we heard about this for years now, that so it used to be you subscribe to a channel, and the reason you subscribe to the channel is that then when that channel would upload a video, when you'd go to your homepage on YouTube, there'd be a video there waiting for you from the channel you subscribe to, and I feel like that just kind of got.
It depends on your feed. There's like recommended videos or you know, your own personal news feed.
Hit the bell notification.
Hit the bell if you want that. Thumbs up. Yeah, viewership is where it's at. Also, I've found that don't undersell the importance of just having a nice, cozy community. You don't need Mr. Beast numbers. You don't need millions of views. Sometimes you just need like a few thousands of views, and that's a good place to start. And you'll be surprised how many folks are like, I don't want the big, loud communities. I want something that's more personalized and genuine and our own inside jokes. Like, I have some friends and colleagues who do Twitch and YouTube, and they'll have like 100 active viewers on their stream watching their stuff, and that's more than enough to keep the lights on, and have their channel going.
Yeah. So it's yeah. Again, everything's kind of personalized in that way, where it's like what are you looking for and what are you looking to get out of, and we really tangented on your initial question. But
and when all else fails, download a VTuber model. Kick up the physics.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Would you prefer a serious or an unserious question?
Let's do the serious or the unserious.
Do you see in the future streaming completely eclipsing pre-recorded, like recorded and edited content?
I don't think so. Maybe a balance. Because it's interesting that on Twitch right now, people. This is kind of an example. Because Twitch started off with games. That's why folks watch Twitch. Now it's just live streams. That's the most popular genre. People just sitting there chatting with their audience, not even playing games, just hanging out. So maybe it's almost like television's catching up with streaming, or no, streaming's catching up with television. It's kind of the same thing, I guess, more or less. But I don't think it'll overtake pre-recorded. That's just such a massive thing on YouTube, and that's where they get their money. YouTube is still trying to, experiment with live streams. How many of you all watch iShowSpeed? Any of y'all familiar with that guy? Any? No? That's the one, very same. But he's been really pushing it hard on YouTube with his globe-trotting and everything. And it's interesting how it feels like the Travel Channel, but through a Zoomer guy running around Malaysia with a camera and screaming and barking. But
so it's like my con vlogs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nothing's changed. But we'll see. Who knows what the next big evolution is going to be for YouTube, Twitch, and so on. But I think the pre-recorded stuff, that'd be kind of hard to overtake that. That's a bedrock for YouTube. But who can say?
The bigger question, I think, is what's going to happen first? What will be more popular first? Will it be recorded videos being posted as live streams, or will it be live streams posted as recorded videos?
It's very zen. It's kumbaya.
We're getting deep. And then you had an unserious question.
If I were to draw my little ransom avatar, what pose should I do?
Crossed arms. With a furrowed brow.
Ooh.
All right, questions. Yes.
How do you ensure that you have boundaries between your personal and your YouTube life?
Do not give any of your private information to your viewers. Don't. No, I think, I don't know. I feel like it kind of just comes naturally where I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, but that's about as far as it goes. I mean, I'm very satiated and happy and fulfilled when it comes to my family, my friends, my private life. So when it comes to because that's the interesting thing about the internet compared to like back in the day with television is television was a one-way road. We as an audience watched, all right, good show, moving on. Now it's a lot more parasocial. Now you're actually watching a live streamer, and said live streamer is probably a lot more like us than it is a Hollywood type, where it's like, yeah, you too, worked an 8-to-5 job, and you too are just like me. So I can relate to you. And also there's a lot more, I guess, inside jokes or them kind of talking about their own, here's my dog, let me share about my day. I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I personally believe it is just keep your private information to yourself. Yeah. There's a lot of weirdos out there.
Yeah, you want to be careful, especially if you're doing like live video or streaming or whatnot. I feel like it is very beneficial to not make it very apparent where you live.
Yes. Don't show any landmarks. Close your windows. Don't
hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Yep.
And it's because sadly, while it's something where going back to the question earlier about ignoring haters and whatnot. The reality is that there are people out there that are just off the wall, and you just don't want to have to deal with that. And the best thing you can do is take the preventative measures from the get-go, because it's a lot harder to put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste box.
Right. Bottle.
Tube. But yeah, as far as that separation goes, I feel like there's a benefit to being able to have an audience that can relate to you.
Yep.
And I feel like that, in a large part, just based on interactions that we had over the last 15 years, it hasn't been that long yet, don't worry, but I'm just summarizing now on the 15.
Might as well.
But the last 12 to 13 years is that I feel like that has been a benefit of ours, is that people are able to come up and just start talking to you because they feel like they already know you. And I feel like that's a good thing. That they can feel like, hey, I already feel like we almost have like a friend connection. From our standpoint, it's again, that can be very rewarding, but there has to be a line too. Yep. And especially at conventions, because we've had this happen, where, we're like, oh, thank you very much. And then you're walking back to your room and you turn around and you're like, this person, hi.
They're still following us.
Where are you headed right now? And they're like, I don't know, where are we going? And you're like, well, you see, not where you're going. You do need to have boundaries, and they need to be healthy boundaries. I try not to, I try not to bring up too much like very personal stuff, whether it's on social media or YouTube, in my life, because that's stuff for me to deal with, and I feel like, there can be a line there as far as how much do you want to present versus, because I feel like also YouTube's almost like a character in a way. You can very much be yourself and be that character, but it doesn't mean you have to tell everyone everything. Right. And people will ask you for stuff that it's like, nope, that's not appropriate for me to share.
Well, they'll feel sometimes entitled to you. That's another thing too. Folks who are like, why aren't you streaming? You said you'd stream. I had to go to the doctor, or I'm feeling, sick tonight. Well, that's not fair. You owe us. We're your audience. And it's like, that's not happening. Out, boundaries,
Balances exist. And it's just be good to yourself, Don't feel obligated to your audience. You want to give to your audience in regards to, hey, here's the content, but you don't owe them anything else. So It's okay to have that line, and it doesn't even have to be in the sand. It could be in the concrete. It's like, nope, I will not go past that line.
Well said. Yes.
I've seen on some channels the title or description will change within 5 to 10 minutes being published. It seems like a strategy. Comment on that.
Sometimes you just try a title, and you'll see that initial wave of viewers drop off, and you're like, oh shoot, it didn't work. Let's change the title and description. Description doesn't matter as much. You can put some words in there that might reflect with the algorithm. Let's say you're reviewing a new Disney film. Put the name of the movie in the title and the description. But as far as changing it, it's just people trying to just see what works. Because YouTube also offers currently, you can upload 3 different thumbnails, and within an hour they'll show you which one performed the best, and you can pick that. But at the same time, it's like that's cool and all. But within an hour, it's like, okay, well, usually that's the most important, hour of your video's lifespan, because it'll set the rhythm for it. And I guess I can tell you if something's truly just garbage, like, oh my God, this thumbnail I wanted is not good. I'll go with this one. C is better than A. But there are other moments where it's also kind of like, when I've tested that feature, it's all kind of like 35%, 30%, 32%, or something like that. Is that 100%? I don't know. I can make it with math. But
close enough.
To answer your question, they're trying to find out what works best.
Yeah.
And see if the little bar goes, because someone's like, oh, that's a better title. I like that.
This is going to also sound, this is a little bit of a guess, but I also wonder, because sometimes you don't know what the title is going to look like in the sidebar until you hit upload, and it could be a formatting thing where they're like, oh, I don't like how this gets cut off. I'm gonna rework, so if somebody sees it in that sidebar, this is what they're going to see first, or this is going to be able to fit the whole title or something like that. So it could be also something of that effect. I know that for me, there's been times, admittedly, where I don't know if it's happened with my title, but certainly my description, where I've hit upload on a video, I'm like, oh, I never did I forgot to change the description. It's like, oh, got to fix that.
Yep.
That could also be it. But if you're seeing it on a normal run, as far as I know, I haven't heard of any like you said, outside of maybe people trying to
change it,
figure it out. But
titles have changed quite a bit. Again, it depends on your channel, depends on you. But I've been told the rule of thumb is simple and emotive. Don't make a title long, make it to the point, and that's how you get eyes on it. And also kind of open-ended questions. What happened? Why is this movie? Why does blank suck so hard? ? Or the downfall of Saberspark. That's a good one. All right, next question. Yes.
Has your YouTube channel resulted in you making friends, I guess?
I'm sorry. Repeat that one more time?
Has your YouTube channel resulted in you making more friends or new friends?
Making friends? Yeah, I've made lots of friends. I made this friend from making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Best friend. No,
where's my check?
Your $3 will be in the mail.
Yeah. No, it's so again, the culture kind of within YouTube has changed since we started. Back in the day, you could private message people on YouTube, other content creators. I did. That was how he and I.
There used to be YouTube Friends as an actual feature on YouTube, and they're like, get rid of that.
It's obviously a cool deal when you're able to get to know other people that you're kind of making similar content to. That was a benefit that we had, is that we got to know each other. We started going to conventions. First ever time I met him was Everfree Northwest 2012. That's when we met in person. And yeah, it's nice. I go back to referencing this more so in the early parts of the fandom, because that's when I was experiencing this the most. In that we would have our group was very much like a kind of a YouTuber group. But I also, very early on, was hanging out with the musician group, and they would have their group, and they'd be all talking. What's nice about that kind of stuff, it kind of goes back to a bit of a support system. It's so, it's one thing, when you're learning and picking up the craft, or just learning about, hey, what works on YouTube, it's so nice having other people that are also trying to figure it out. You can learn from each other. You're able to pick up like, hey, how did you do that in your video? I want to learn, that. Like, in this day and age, YouTube tutorials are a whole, like, I feel like it's changed the game because I mean, in my work, like, we'll be like, how do you do this in SolidWorks? Well, let's look it up on YouTube. Like, that stuff, it goes probably through every industry. But I feel like there's something different when you have that human element, somebody that you can talk to, someone that can help you out. I watched it with a lot of the early musicians that were in the fandom. And they were all helping each other out, and you can also use as like, hey, can you watch this video? Tell me, like, does it have a good start? Do you see any issues with it? I feel like we did that a lot. I would do that with the Bronies Reacts, where it's like, hey, we're gonna have a viewing party, before we actually make it live. And, just kind of see, like, I would use it as a QC for myself so I could quality control and be like, oop, I had an editing error there. But then also it's like, hey, like, was this a good joke? Should I leave that joke in? Yeah, okay. It's good having people that you can bounce off of. Yep. And so it's very nice to, be able to make those friends. And yeah. So it's rewarding, I've, again, a lot of the friends that I've made through this, it's like, these are lifelong friends. Mm-hmm. And why are you yawning during my beautiful speech?
Yeah, friends.
But yeah, no, it's great.
Christian.
So every time I try to get the chance to watch your videos. I try to catch a live stream. But I'm curious, have you guys ever done a podcast before?
No.
No, we did a podcast called the Semi-Perfect Podcast.
Yes.
And it was set to pasture.
And how would you go about setting up, since that's a whole other different.
Sarah,
you want to come up and answer this question? So this is how you do it. Saber and I go, we want to start a podcast, and then we go, Sarah, can you make it happen?
Outsource it to a producer.
Sarah, what advice would you have for starting a podcast that you felt worked for the Semi-Perfect Podcast?
Well, first off, I think we started on Twitch. I think we initially started on Saber's Twitch channel, and then it kind of flipped over to, I can't remember if we made a separate Twitch channel.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, and then we moved to YouTube. So it kind of changed venues, but overall I think when we began, it was just we were recording the Discord call and using OBS program. And so it was pretty simple. Later on, I think we kind of got a little bit fancier where when we were recording, we had, there was something called CraigBot on Discord, and we would have him, it was a nice tool to be able to individually record people. So then, when you go back to edit, you can, have that freedom to race is too loud.
Naturally.
So you can turn him down so that, all of the levels of the speaking voices are kind of more equal. So it's just overall a better quality. It was mostly just a fun passion project that we all did, and it was a lot of fun, but we all just got really busy in our lives, so it was getting harder and harder to get the whole group together and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. Okay.
The thing I feel like when it comes to podcasting, I feel like if you're going to put money into anything, put it into a good microphone. Yep. Like that's where I feel like it's if it sounds nice, people are going to be like, it's like butter. Okay. But there's a lot of free programs that you can utilize to make a podcast happen. You don't have to invest a lot into I got to buy this program or buy that program. You're going to be all right.
Should we do lightning round? We have 3 minutes left.
Lightning YouTube round?
Yes. All right. We'll answer questions as fast as we can. Yes.
I have a question. If you've got the ball rolling with your channel, if you're looking for other, people who are trying to grow, what's a good way to reach out to people, platforms, etc.?
Directly. Just email them. You can if they have a social media, Twitter. Just be like, hey, I admire your content, and strike up a rapport. I always make sure it's very amicable, very chill. Don't be very demanding. Just be like, yo, here's an idea. I love your stuff. If not, no big deal, but just want to let you know.
And in your initial contact, tell them why you're contacting them. Because I have people that will contact me and go, hey, can we talk? It's like,
yeah. I was like, nope, ain't happening. All right, next question. All right, gliding around. Yes.
You guys mentioned that the first hour of video is very important.
Yes.
Do you guys found that there's a good time of day that's more ideal than the other?
It depends on your. I would say there's the entire debate over like what day of the week is the best, and it's like doesn't really matter too much. It's what time of the day, and they say around like 3 p.m. to about like 6 p.m. EST. Because if you hit around 3 p.m. EST, okay, the East Coasters are starting to slow down with their day. Or it's around lunchtime for the, Pacific people. Midwest, who cares?
I was doing it at 2 to 3 a.m.
Oh, that would do it.
That's my problem.
No, aim for the afternoon, early evening is kind of the sweet spot. And aim for, not to sound, mean to the rest of the world, but aim for Americans. We have the money.
Yeah, the Chinese haven't gotten there yet on YouTube.
They don't have YouTube.
Someday. Yes.
How do shorts perform in comparison to longer videos? Because I've noticed YouTube is really pushing shorts on everybody. Like sometimes I open my YouTube and it just automatically opens the short tab even if I wasn't on it. And I noticed some creators have slowed down making longer videos and are focusing more on shorts.
I can answer that question. YouTube Shorts are excellent for growth. The problem is YouTube Shorts, it's hard to get those people who watch your shorts to watch your long form videos. So there are channels that are just straight up dedicated to YouTube Shorts. There's also a shocking amount of them that are just bootlegging other people's content as well. But, because I've heard people who are like, yeah, I just re-upload shorts, I've made $10,000 a month. And I'm like, ooh, I hate you. And there's this one guy who had 3 or 4 YouTube channels that all broke 1 million subscribers from him just bootlegging people's shorts and putting his face on the top screen reacting to it. But shorts are great for growth. I would say supplement it, There's a YouTube channel I love called Papa Meats, where he's hilarious. I love that guy. But he makes excellent long form videos, but he makes enough long form videos to make his money. People love them, but he'll use his shorts to promote it.
Yeah, I noticed like they make a short that's part of the longer video and there's a link that takes you to that one.
That's exactly what you do. It needs to be a call to action. So I would say he's a great example of someone how to use shorts to help bolster your main content. But I've kind of slowed down with shorts because I realized shorts, they're just their own separate thing. Here's the last thing I'll say, is sometimes YouTube's algorithm, will be like, oh man, you got a bunch of views and subscribers and they're new watchers, but they're not watching your long form videos, and we're taking notice of that. Something must be wrong. We're gonna punish you now for that. It's weird. So you have to you have to do that call to action to your main form content.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna be a wrap.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us for How to YouTube. Yeah, the final notes is just be consistent, be passionate, have fun. Don't fear AI. I think AI is going to be a fad ultimately. And I think as people, continue on, they'll see that sincerity, authenticity, passion. You can't mimic that through a machine. So, keep at it. Good luck.
Yep. And just a reminder, Hooves Line we're going to be doing in 30 minutes.
Yes.